I read this much early in my days, so making sense to you guys. So, so what we're talking about is Confucius Analects, am I right? So, how you pronounce that word?
Analects.
Analects, yes. So, now we are in the 5th whole chapter. This chapter is more about his comments on different personalities of old, of current time with him, contemporaries basically. It has 27 chapters, and his point of view evidently is very outstanding and quite distinct in the way how others commenting others. Interesting enough, you can see this kind of comments often is not a gospel or just through some words there, rather from a point of view to invalid, like a historian would do, the historian or people of any moral standing or certain standings in a cultural or societal way, you're going to have to get the evaluation of a person's personality, his way of dealing with things. We call the evaluation if you're doing in an organization way, right? So making sense to you? A king going to have to say that, hey, that guy is not a guy for the general. He may be good for the officer, in the court, but to be a general, that may be misplacement, right? So there must be some evaluation there. So even being a general, he may be very good with general fighting military talents or military excellency, but he might not is a good person. He might treat others not necessarily good, or treat friends not good, or maybe not loyal to the king. Who knows? So. But when you write him off in his military capacities, David has one of the cousins, am I right? What is his name? I forgot his name. No.
Cousin.
I forgot his name. Just slip of my mind. Basically, he has to tell Solomon to deal with him, before after he passed. So, anyway, but he was a wonderful general, wonderful military leader. And replaced David after David became a king. He's not leading the army anymore. That is a person that take on the responsibility. So I'm just giving one example talking about this. But Confucius is more than a king. Confucius is more a culture teacher. His evaluation of different people from this perspective give us a lot to say about himself rather than the people, right? Make sense to you? So now we're gonna go on with the first one. This person called Gong Ye Chang. Okay, so 子谓公也长，可期也，虽在累谢之中，非其罪也。以妻子妻之，子谓难容。邦与道不废，邦无道，免如行辱。以其雄之子妻之。I'm going to do my translation, then you do yours. Is that okay? Yep. So, yeah. So, in this two dialogues, Confucius has some comments about two of his disciples. He said, Gong Ye Tang is one, said, that one can give you a daughter to marry to. Even he is in jail or in prison, it's not his fault. So he married his own daughter. So this became a son-in-law for him. So then the other guy named Nairum said, if the nation is in good order, he will never be unnoticed. He will be basically have a position or prestige. But if the nation is lawless or in terrible condition, he will escape of I don't know what's it called. Basically, he will not get harmed. He will not being accused or being considered being criminal, basically, then get killed. So he married him with the daughter of his brothers. So his nephew, you should say. So this is the young people. Confucius give a comment, giving evaluation, and said, okay, I look at their life, even they are in different stations of life. Some are terrible. Why is become prisoner? A criminal considered. But he has a righteous judgment. He said, it's not his fault. He's being falsely accused. So he married his own daughter. Who would do that? It's now Confucius has no standing in society. He was a primer of his nation. So, but he would not look at that track record or that terrible habitants to this young man. Said, okay, you no good for my daughter. Actually said, well, forget about that. I know this person very well, and treat him like my own family. In those days, marriage is different than today's society. It's more like actually biblical context, ancient times. So when you marry somebody too, that is considered your closest family, okay, like adopted son. So making sense to you, so those days you don't do those things casually. Oftentimes it has to do with maybe a bad tradition, but it's you have to consider what the family they are from, what the parents about, what the relatives about. It's more than like a romantic happy story. Those days more parents decided who the young people who they get married, which married to. The tradition, right? The story. So yeah, in England I think they have such stories. So, yeah. So anyway, let's hear your translation. Let's sum it up.
All right, number 1. The master said of Kung Yi Cheng that he might be wived. Although he was put in bonds, he had not been guilty of any crime. Accordingly, he gave him his own daughter to wife. Number 2, of Nan Yung, he said that if the country were well governed, he would not be out of office. And if it were ill governed, he would escape punishment and disgrace.
That's great.
He gave him the daughter of his own elder brother to wife.
There you go. That's great translation. I like it. Translate that again with Nairong. Let's do it again. So, if the nation,
he said that if the country were
well governed,
he would not be out of office.
He will not be out of office. Go ahead.
And if it were ill governed, he would escape punishment and disgrace.
So what does this mean, this person? Why he invalid from such a point of view? Because those days, nations have very volatile situations. Okay, so and not all kings. So not one king in the land, but many kingdoms, small kings. So different king, different policies, and then they fighting each other as well. Then people, of standing, all of use for different governments. Sometimes they transfer from one nation to another to serve different kings. So then, because the rulers oftentimes they change. Like England time, am I right? You understand my point? They change the government, they change the kingship all the time. So every time there will be a cleansing, or some persecution going on. So in such a volatile time, a dangerous time, then he has this comment for this young man. He said, hey, if the nation is good, he will be noticed, he will be used properly in the office. For if not, he will escape punishment and disgrace. What to say about this person?
He seems to be
wise, right?
Yeah, very wise and discernible.
Yeah. This first person, he married his own daughter. The second person he married is the daughter's older brother. The first person seems to have facing danger and called in punishment. So what's the difference here? Why he would marry his own daughter to someone actually caught into a bad situation? No, basically, safety is not the first priority for his own daughter. Personal safety and personal, not getting into major troubles. Why? There is a different standards here, in a sense, implied. Making sense to you? If the first is, if you use the second standard, surely he should not marry his daughter to such a guy. So why he treat his own daughter, which was close to him, with a different standard, and not afraid for the young man to go into trouble, cause danger and harm and instability in their life. Why? Think about it. What the comment would be? No thoughts? That's fine. Don't worry. It's a hard question for anybody. So nobody asks those questions normally. What do you think, Noah?
I'm not really sure. I think maybe through the wisdom of the way that he thinks, that being the master, this could be completely off, but it seems like instead of the daughter resembling simply a greater privilege than the daughter of his brother, it seems like it would also be not only a sign of greater respect, but something that circumstantially the man falsely accused is more in need than the other man, who is, while he's wise, the man that's in this dangerous state, even though he's innocent, is more in need of that greater privilege and recognition of the value of his life. And seeing that this master would give his own daughter to be his wife.
Yes.
But I really don't know.
That's a very good point. That's actually being true. So then you read things with context now. Now the old brother, in this case, I don't know historical fact. No, there's really concrete material to support it. Those days, brothers, people live short, right? So if you have an old brother, if you pass away, leave the daughter to you for care, what are you going to do? Would you consider you will try to keep them safe, keep them well taken care of. So your first priority is not express your own value in life. Your first priority is being faithful to the entrustment that your brother give to you. Making sense to you? Now, why would he use the daughter, his old brother? Evidently, if the father is still there, he will not have the say, right? So evidently the father has passed away. Making sense to you? So, and the daughter was entrusted him for care. Therefore, he acting as in the father's stead, as a father in a sense in this case. Making sense to you? Take care of the marriage. Any choice is for the safety of the daughter in this case. So, but for his own daughter, he applied a different standard, not because, in a sense, bias or prejudice, but he wanted his own daughter to speak, the marriage itself, to speak his own standard for life. So the marriage is standing for his view of life, his value of life. He's not standing for the entrustment of the brother's life, right? So that's my point. So first, maybe this occasion, this marriage elevated the young man who was in terrible state of life to a different place for standing. But more importantly, I think he applied a higher standard, a standard more dear to his heart. I said, no, I'm going to choose the one who belongs to my family, represent our family value in a different way. So success or danger in life is not the first priority in this case. rather the person who is upright, who is, it said, 废弃罪业. Why a person is not his own fault got into trouble. He's standing for something, oftentimes, right? So, says my point. He made a stand or something. He got in the way of wicked people, corrupt people. That's why he got into trouble. So he made a stand for the righteous purpose, the righteous whatever cause. Making sense to you? So, and that's very interesting. So now read those things. I don't expect you guys to understand. I try to introduce you to how to read things more properly, right? Rather than on the surface level. So anyway, let's go on. So 5:2.
If you give me just one sec, Elaine texted me asking. She texted me saying, "Hey Noah, y'all did not go into the studio this morning, correct?"
We are here.
Yeah, I'll tell her that.
Yeah. Sorry.
There might have been some kind of miscommunication.
I wonder why she would think that we go.
Because I think she thinks we're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, that's because I took a rest last night, yesterday, so being rested. So.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
No, that's okay. It's life.
Yeah.
No worries. Mm-hmm.
She might end up contacting you, I don't know.
It's okay. Now I'm gonna go on with this. Okay, 子谓子见，君子哉若人！如君子言，斯言取斯。Confucius said of 子见. 子见 is citizen of the kingdom Lu, also disciple of Confucius. So, 君子在若人, saying basically, this gentleman is really an upright man, or the whatever, excellent young man. 如果 if the kingdom of Lu has no upright people, then how we have this guy here, basically commenting. Other might ask the question, said, hey, there is no really good persons in this kingdom of Lu. But Confucius commented, said, I disagree. Look at Jian, this young man, who is my disciple. He is an upright young man, excellent young man. So let's hear your comments.
Number 2 says, the master said of, how would you pronounce this? Tijin?
子见, yes, okay.
Of superior virtue, indeed, is such a man. If there were not virtuous men in Lu, how could this man have acquired this character?
That's good. How he can acquire this character. Oh, that's better translation than mine. I didn't do the right translation last sentence. So here is more than commenting one person's virtue, rather saying there is a way, there is a fellowship, there is a company of people, am I right? They were imparting and pursuing the right, upright way of living, a virtuous way of living. If the Jian is such a man, then how he acquired those? How he become like this? Am I right? So there must be certain things going on in this nation that you can't say, hey, there's no such a thing exist. So I'm sorry, my comment it maybe English maybe not quite there, but you understand what I try to convey. Am I right? So okay, so that's emphasized more than a person's personal attributes, but emphasize also the importance of fellowship and learning, environmental learning. So Elijah, why don't you take notes these days? Did you take notes?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay.
Go down, but line down the time.
Okay. 5.3. Now, those habits were small in the beginning, Elijah, but you're gonna after 1 year, another year, are going to accumulate for you. You're going to show the difference whether you're able to learn and pay attention to your learning or not. After 10 years, 20 years, small habit like that begin to show a great difference. Whether you want to pay attention, it seems the word minimal, right? So every smart people will do that. When I was a young man, I don't like taking notes. I think I'm smart. I can retain all information. Until the day I said, well, you know what? That's not true. This is not true. I need to pay attention. I need to make notes, not for the reason that I'm going to recover the thing, just for me to compare myself to listen, to pay attention. So the other thing is just to respect who you listen to. It's one thing to brush aside, listen to it, but you write the notes in mind to take and say, hey, there is some point I want to really come back to it, to visit it. Something I want to ask the teacher or someone listen to it. I wanted to zoom in to study it. Now, all those are going to flash your mind with the course of listening dialogue, just like that, right? Like a moment notice. Yeah, then you try to recover. 30 minutes later, the conversation goes so far away to other places. You said, "Oh, I remember. You had something to ask. Something I wanted to study a little bit more. To query a little bit more. You can recall. Oftentimes, can you recall? I don't believe you guys have a supernatural mind like a woman, right? You can't. So what do? You simple question mark, simple things, just mark it out, square it out, something like that. And say, oh, you know what? I remember now that this point, something was calling my attention. I need to ask more questions. I need to pay more attention to it. I study a little bit more. So taking notes is an art. You might want to take actually some lessons on how to take notes. That is some art. People invented fast writing, code, in order to take notes. You might think it's very simple, but there is professions. People just taking notes. These days we have computer, get recorded, instantly transcribed. It was not the case in the early days. So when people doing a speech, they don't have recording, they don't have any material. So you understand my point? But the speech is so important, or the occasion is so important. Certain people want to take it down to notes. For example, Madison. James Madison, you know who James Madison is? Okay, James Madison notes become the first #1 source for interpreting the Constitution. They take all the notes in the meetings that they participated for half a year or so in 70, which year was 75, called the Philadelphia Convention. The convention, because he taken notes, meticulous notes, and we have the rich resource to go back to the journal to say, okay, this is what they really argue about. This is how the convention really happened. Now the convention was conditioned that nobody's supposed to take any notes outside. Nobody's supposed to exchange to anything. There's nothing to be relayed to your family, to your friends. It's a secret meeting. It was facing great danger if you found out to be killed on the spot with treason. Also, it's very controversial. You have these people get together. If the army sent on you, or police sent on you, what happened? They all go to jail, killed. So they are not allowed to even doing exchange in their own bars, in the inns. They're not supposed to talk about it. Only in the time of the convention. And then there are only few people was given the task to take notes because they want to record things back. Madison was the person organized the whole meeting, and it was secretary almost, So Washington was the president. So the whole process are argued. And then later days, from these notes, they wrote the Federalist paper. But the first information source is the Federalist paper or his notes. The people really talk about different things, so it's his notes because that's really recorded what's really going on in the process of convention. Now, how he take those notes? He was a young man. He was 24, 25 years old in the time. Now, may I ask you, Elijah, are you able to take that notes? Can you organize a meeting? Do you understand what they argue about? Madison was not go to like high school, those kind of, he learned everything by himself. He's self-educated. He was a sickly person. He's often sick. So half the year, he has to battle his illness when he was young. And the time he spent is to try to learn. And he was enthused by the idea of I'm going to learn how the Roman government, how it operated, the English government, how it operated. He get into the details, nitty-gritties, and he come with some very substantial designs. And this young man hung around the Washington circuit, he becomes the magnet for people to discuss new constitution. It's a father. Now we call him the Father Constitution. You understand my point. So his last word legendary. He was a very quiet, shy young man, but he was always put in the most important positions. After the first presidency, Adam, he became a Secretary of State's young man again. So paired with Madison, Thomas Jefferson. After Thomas Jefferson, he became the president for 2 terms, I think. So those are people. They pay attention how to learn. Got to notice. I'm not proposing you have to be a president per se, but you have the same young mind, same faculty, more privileged than those days, and I would highly encourage you guys to really pay attention how you learn, take advantage of the time you have. Am I making sense to you, Elijah? Yeah. Now, those days, people take notes because of duties. Later on, note-taking become an art, become a profession. Again, people cannot recording, so they develop this fast note-taking, So using different curves, different symbols to take on the whole sentence down. Now, when people learn the conventions, now imagine the person who invent the convention. Why they do that convention to begin with? Why become popular? But every secretary required to know how to take that notes. Else, like a typewriter these days, you have to type very fast. So, or else you can be a note taker. You can be a secretary. So, how in the world somebody make a word, in a meeting, they can take all the word down, word by word, because they learn the skills how to take notes. And certain people, more than that, they take their personal notes. They invent their own system to take notes down. In different cultures, we just talk English. What about Chinese? What about the German? What about other languages? They have to use different symbols, different ways to take notes. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the typewriter, do you see Congress these days in gatherings? They have different people, clerks. The first thing they do there is a clerk getting down. In any court, clerk is sitting down and take a verbals, word by word, what's said. And sometimes, in order for them to correct it, they have to stop, said, okay, hold on, I mistyped it because it's reflected. Why is needed? Because those become original record for later on things need to be decided or reported. Like certain people, I didn't see that, or I didn't say that exactly like that. So where's the record going to show? we have the case last year. I think in the process of impeachment. Hear me out, okay? So they want what the Congress was subpoenaing the original record for the meeting. Who taken notes? The secretary had taken the notes. That is official. You can, if you violate, you change it, what have you. That's a criminal. To change the record, changes the notes taking process. My point is that, so you think it's a small matter in note taking, in certain professions become such important matter, so some affairs become certain important matter. So do not despise those simple skills. If I assign you to be a medicine, what kind of medicine going to be? So by the way, why you can be a medicine, be a secretary of this meeting? What qualify you? But those skills are not there, those attitudes not there, those preparations not there. I don't think you have a job, right? You'll not play the role in it. So skill like that, or ways to carry yourself like that, it's not for merely your personal for personal preferences. It might just open up a way for you to engage with people, am I right? So, Lord, I pray for us. I wonder, this ways of thinking and the learning is required a self-effort, a self-discipline. If you're not there or not willing, you will never learn. You'll waste your own life, and you will think the things that requires you to discipline yourself, excel yourself, is your enemy. The truth of the matter, they are good for you. They should be your friend. You stand up, pray. Your life, how old are you again? 16 years old? 14. Okay. Need to change. It's time to really expand yourself, to have a higher standard for your life. You turn around and pray for you. There is a breaking point, Elijah, in your life. Yeah. Pride, self-reservation will not help us. Yield, learn, expand ourselves, allow ourselves to be improved. If God hands on in the young man's life like He is doing right now with you, He will be relentless. And you will find the grace, the freedom is quickly receding. The hand will be more and more heavy on you, discipline you. I think you've been assigned to that season. Every vessel goes through crossroads. It's not that people don't like you or don't appreciate you. It's just they expect something, or God expects something out of you. Amen, hallelujah. A gold continue being marred by the other substance, right? So not dig out with things good enough. No, it's need to go through the crucible, go through the shaping. By the way, more than purified is not good enough. You have to be shaped in the proper vessel to be used. Who's going to shape you? God will shape you. Life will shape you. The people around you may shape you. It's not up to us, basically. You may think it's up to you. The truth of the matter is quite the opposite. You look at your life, it's the environment that shapes you. It's God's assigned environment and relationships you. That's part of the power of discipleship or cultural building. Okay. Do you understand my point? Yeah. So what's going on in the past few days? Something happened to you. I want you to pray against the spirit, rebellion, and defiance. You need to really appreciate discipline and understand sometimes correction, admonishment, even rebuke are out of love for you. They're good for you. If you resist on that point, then you can basically sign on a negative line for learning and right expanding. You understand my point? So let's give you a picture. A coach going to have a beautiful player talented player in the basketball court. And the coach love the young player. He wanted him to excel and be a wonderful leader and a champion in the game. Making sense to you? So hear me out. And but he has a certain way he wants him to play, and according with others, am I to follow certain ways, hold the whole team. He can be a leader, champion, that captain. But the young lad said, "I know how to play this. I'm good. I know how to coordinate. I." And do you think the coach pick on him or doing anything negative to him is because the coach don't like him or the coach really like him? Think about it. If the coach leave him to be or just excuse him from the game, will you think the coach really appreciate the person or just want that person to be involved? Am I right? So in order for that person to be really play a significant role and be a part of the useful thing, so what does the coach will do? He will engage until the spirit is broken, until the way engaging the disrespect, the inattention, the carelessness is broken. You understand my point? Until or else he will not let that guy to play around. So what have you? In the beginning, he might more relaxed, handle certain things, want him to improve, but that person will listen what he do. He will pinpoint and say, you did this, you did that. And the person didn't listen. He will say, okay, I'll give you 3 times for you to change. On the first time, I'm going to make some punishment for you. A person continues to change. And the coach said, well, you know what? After that, you're off the court. Sit on the bench. Think about it. Talk to your parents about it. Talk to your teacher about it. Talk to your peers about it. Is this how you deal with this way of playing the game? With my oversight. So who did all that? Who invited the harsh discipline? If the person continually said, I don't want to listen to this. This is terrible. This is wrong. This is injustice. This is unfair. I'm being mistreated. Do you think the coach is going to yield to the parents' plea or the parents' noise, whatever? Or he knows what needs to be done with a player? Imagine the coach is not your coach. 20 years he has been doing these things. Do you understand what I'm saying, Elijah? You may think your young life is very, very distinctly peculiar. But no, it's not true. Jesus was a young man in your generation, and there are many generations before you are going to be after you. There are certain ways God ordained for life. It's not going to tailor-made for your personality. It's your personality shaping the general way of what it means to make a young man excellent, make a relationship work. You pray for him. Some spirit has to be broken. Still not listen to me. But I said, something had to be broken, and it's going to be broken. It's going to be quickly broken in you. You can't escape. I said it. Go ahead.
Lord, as these things are revealed and brought to light, I pray that it would be so in each one of our eyes. Lord, even as you have revealed to Emmanuel, may it be seen, Lord, also to Elijah. Lord, the one who is affected by it, Lord. I pray also for truly a breakthrough in Elijah's life, within his heart and his mind and his spirit. Lord, I pray that he would be brought to a realization that your work is not confined solely within the heart, Lord, but goes out into every aspect of his life. Great things, great interest, even to small things. Lord, may he know that you are not just in part or distant in some way and confined to spiritual situations, Lord, but that you are a part of every aspect of a life. Lord, may Elijah realize this and not only be mindful of it, but live according to such a truth. Lord, to know that your Spirit seeks to work on a humble and submissive heart. So I pray this for Elijah in Jesus' name. Amen.
What happened to you in recent days? Something happened to you? Who talked to you? Your parents talked to you? Something going on with you? It's okay. Hold up your hand. You know what I tried to get at, am right? We're intelligent man. But there are certain ways God's hand is on it. God wants you to overcome. So your life can blossom, can be so free, so enjoyable, so helpful to everyone around you. And you will see the goodness of God through every relation around you. Do you understand my point, Elijah? It's good. It's wonderful for that to happen. Rather than stuck, rather than continue battle, rather than continue struggling in a relationship. Then you will more lose the joy to engage relationship in every level. And the Spirit defines what I said before. Spirit defines. I don't like to hear what you say. Life is going to look up to us. We're going to appreciate the people who tell us all the good heart, all the good wisdom. We have to tell them, I really thank you for that. Thank you all the love, thank you all your goodness, thank you all your experiences. Thank you, even you said something wrong, but I know your heart for me is a good one, a hopeful one. I will appreciate that heart. Don't mind you do this, giving me a wrong opinion, wrong solution, wrong counsel. No, that doesn't matter because I know that you care about me enough. Actually extend counsel to me. Am I right? So not everything going to be perfect. Your parents not going to be perfect. Every time they give you the right or perfect counsel, they will not. They improve themselves. They will change. Me will not do that. No one will do that. But if you have a hard attitude, defiance, all they're going to be shut down. It can become very negative, unappreciated experience for you. But if you become appreciated experience and a productive experience, what do you think will happen? The relation is going to be solidly grow one step another, one realm of another will be opened up. That's how you learn trust. That's how you learn deep perfections with one another. Affection is not surface level. And you are not a surface young person. And you need to look beyond the surface level. Become beyond the words and simple attitudes, but look really the people's heart around you, to appreciate the heart around you. We need to continually hands on and pray for him. We need to have a vision right now. So that thing, until it's broken, Elijah, your time with me is a waste. And I told you in the beginning of this session, I'm not going to have that around in my time with the people. It's not productive. It's useless. It become, if you don't receive positive attitudes, productive attitudes, I become an obstacle for you actually. You don't need this time. It's a waste of our time. Not that I don't like you or anything. It's just not helpful, So, and that's my point, So, then why we should have that experience together? It's not needed. You can spend that time to do other good things. Go ahead, pray. And again, right off this idea, I'm going to put out with wrong attitudes, wrong ways all the time. I'm supposed to do that with you young people. You are terribly wrong. It's my job to pick on it, to discipline it, to seize it off. It's my job. That's why I'm here. I'm going to point it out. I'm going to discipline it. If I cannot deal with in person with you, I'm going to tell your parents about it. I'm going to invite everybody around you to deal with it. If something so damaging and so outstandingly wrong about it, you don't have the parents. And that's my point. Making sense to you? Well, those are healthy ways, a proper way to deal with young man, not the other way around. Do you understand my point? Yeah. But the other counsellor said, leave the young man be. Let them do their own thing. Just praise them, doing things. I don't think that's proper. At least under my watch in this time. So pray for him. Yeah.
Lord, I pray that each one of us would see, Lord, even such times as these, Lord, not as, Lord, while they are, Lord, a time of revealing and even rebuke, Lord, I pray that it would not be seen as the ultimate solution, Lord, but a pathway to the solution. Lord, I pray that we would see it as, Lord, the revealing and even the pruning of bad fruit and bad branches, Lord, but it is up to the tree, Lord, and the tender of that tree, Lord, to take care of the bad root, Lord, which is a wrong way of thinking that comes from the deepest places within the mind and the heart. So, Lord, I pray that those things would be that which Elijah would submit before you, Lord, even things that he is blind to, Lord, for you to deal with, Lord, after he has brought himself humbly before you. Lord, no longer this recurrent process of continually cutting off the bad fruit, but it growing straight back. Lord, nothing gets done in the end, Lord, but that bad root remains. So, Lord, I pray Elijah would go to the root of the problem, Lord, and see his life, Lord, as not only needing to change, Lord, but that he would be able to see it change. Lord, not think that it's some involuntary or mindless process, Lord, but it's something that requires, Lord, submission and focus and discipline, Lord, in every area of his life. So I pray this upon Elijah and those that you have put in his life, Lord, to help him through this process. I pray for wisdom for these people. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, let's sit down. Elijah, tell us what you see first.
I saw an image of just like turning gears, like a contraption of gears and stuff, like you know, how they connect together and they all kind of spin each other.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what.
It's all connect together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that means for you? Well, I know exactly what it means. That's what I want to tell you. Your life is not your own, not because we try to impose on you. And when your attitudes, your way of approaching things, influence people around you. And that's my point. For example, is the way how I deal with you going to hugely impact Noah's attitudes. Noah's attitude will hugely impact you. You know that, right? If your parents have a hard time with Noah, which sometimes happen, are you happy around? Are you cheerful? Are you just said mindless? Oh, doesn't matter. Or your spirit begin to become heavy. You begin tiptoes around your parents, the ones Noah, am I right? Because allow the compassion and allow reflection of the environment where you are making sense to you. You might intuitively or intuitively not priving his life precipitously. Then, because there's something I need to pay attention to. Is that a bad thing or good thing for you? It's a good thing. You know, you learn through not direct discipline, but rather through I don't know the word, indirect, right? But it's needed for you to pay attention to. Now, here's the deal. You need to pay attention to those spiritual or relational environment. Spiritual environment is not just hung on there, have a good moment. Spiritual environment oftentimes is through one relationship being mended out. Making sense to you? I talk to you, dress to you, because I know how important it is. The impact can over all your family be released to a better place. All your friends be released to a better place to grow and be established. I'm making sense to you? So I know your siblings care about you, the parents care deeply about you. They really want you. I don't think explicitly openly say it about it, they didn't. But they really want you to come to a place of betterment and solidarity with what God is doing. Not the oblivious or careless about it. Now, in a machine, if one cog is not functioning, do you think the machine going to function? Or every other part is going to lose its functionality? If the continuing function try to push forward, what is going to happen to the cog? Is it going to remain the same or be broken? Have to be replaced. I'm just thinking about it. Have to work on it, right? Modified. So either cause the whole machine going to misfunction, not able to move as it is, or somebody has to take out the cog in order for the further damage or whatever, totally useless and replaced. He has to come up to mend it, right? To oil it, whatever. So counsel in life, in young man's life, in a family setting, it's like that. If it's a proper oil, proper mandate, it makes the whole thing worse. If it's not, we're stuck. Do you know how many disheartening experiences outside the family, our circle family, how many young people has caused heartache to the parents? They struggle to pull the hair out. What do we do with this young person? Right? You're not there. So why you're not there? How are you that you're not there? There's a reason. There is a great reason. There is a oversight. There is a counsel. There is also the relations around you. So not to give you those open walls, open doors, open, inlet for those bad things that happen to you. You know better what not to do, what not to think, what not to behave. Elijah, you pray. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. Those people doing those things, their families, their friends, seems a lot of freedom, seems a lot of personality or whatever. Do you think they know what their life is? Do you think they care about what their life is about? What the relationship is about? Or rather careless? They don't have a solid handle what their life should be. I'm not accusing them. They don't know better. But you don't have to suffer that kind of disadvantage, right? So you go ahead and pray.
Father, Lord, I pray that, Lord, that right now, Lord, that I would, Lord, take in what is being taught to me, Lord, what is being revealed to me, Lord. Lord, I pray that you would, Lord, put my soul down in its place, Lord, so I would not take this as just being disciplined, Lord. Lord, I know, and I do realize easier now, Lord, that, Lord, I have been taking discipline, Lord, as, Lord, people just being down on me, Lord. Lord, I pray that I would rise above and, Lord, realize, Lord, that it's, Lord, for my own good, Lord, and because of their love towards me, Lord. Lord, that I would not be, Lord, the enemy would not twist, Lord, relationships between, Lord, those who have much importance in my life, Lord. Lord, I pray for just the realization of these things, Lord, in all relationships that I have. Lord, I pray that you would, Lord, come into each one, Lord, and that you would be intertwined, Lord, that I would be given heavenly wisdom, Lord, from you, Lord, each one, Lord, that you would draw each one closer to you. So, Lord, please give me more revelation, Lord, and realization, Lord, of these things. praise your name.
For me, just give you something to think about it. If I really hard, I will not talk to you anymore, right? Because I don't need to waste my time. It's done my job, so I will not even talk to you on those matters or relate to you in such a way. So for me, the thing I think is encouraging is you're receiving, you're doing, you're not, you understand man, you're growing. Last time I was talking to your dad is all teared up, said Elijah come around, we're thankful to give me a hug. You know how much that means to us? After maybe I dispense some direct disciplinary or some hard counsel, good hard counsel to you, but you don't take it wrongly. You come around and be thankful, and give me a hug, and really want to be noticed that you appreciate the time spent together, and that is very important for me, for your dad, because that's not just a simple action. That's required hard attitudes, and it also is something to us, the discerning, if you will, to see you maturing, you grow up. You understand my point? Relationships in a certain setting more important than the time spent or have. Those are very much cultural and relational things. That's how you express your love, how you receive love. I'm the same. Not careless about the things. I'm not trying to tell you how to do it, but as you did it out of your own heart, that's beautiful, these things. No, you have any comments at this point on these things? Okay. Why don't you pray for us more?
Amen. Lord, we are grateful to you for the place that you have brought us, Lord, the maturity that has come and the maturity that will come in each one of our lives. Lord, I pray that we would always be in a humble and submissive place before you, Lord, knowing that you do work out, Lord, the best for those who serve you in such a way, Lord, not unto their own ends, Lord, but unto that of your purpose in their lives and for your people, Lord, to be able to bring about this new and greater way of life in the midst of a people that so desire it. So, Lord, I pray that this good work would continue in each life. In Jesus' name, Amen.
Let's move on with 3:5:3. Now, you will have the real heart to listen to the comments or the conversations really here. You not hear a story, you'll hear wisdom, the counsel in life. Let's look at it. 子贡问曰：“次也何与？”子曰：“以气也。”曰：“何气也？”曰：“胡连曰。”子贡 is one of the disciples of Confucius. He said, he's talking about his own name, he said, "What do you think I am like?" And Confucius said, "You are like a beautiful vessel." And then Zigong asked, interesting, he did not content them, right? So he said, "What kind of vessel?" And Confucius said, "You are like a beautiful vessel that contains the grain or the offering of grain." In those days, they offer certain things and made beautiful vessels as well. Just like in the Old Testament times, to offer grain offering, basically. He said, "You are that vessel that offers a grain offering." So, can you do the translation a little bit?
It says, Qi Kung asked, "What do you say of me?" The master said, "You are a utensil." "What utensil?" "A gemmed sacrificial utensil."
A gemmed sacrificial utensil. That's a very good one. So basically what it is, Hulian, it's basically things contain the grain, okay? So for offering in the ceremony or the worshipful time. So now, interesting enough, so is again Confucius commenting his own disciples. So this teacher has very clear give all his comments, his opinions, assessment of disciples. And everybody know about it. The good and the bad. Now we're talking about the good, right? So why he do that? This is the lost art of modern discipleship. Even in the church, people always do praise, but don't do real evaluation of the spiritual standing each person is, what need to be done, what need to be done. We give you an example of a wonderful, wise coach in discipling or whatever, training a basketball players. They have a goal, they have a standard, they have a proving moment, right? They have to go to the game to compete. Then he has to do the thing need to be done as a coach was supposed to do. Unfortunately, in Christian circles, in family circles, we lost the standard. We only, our children are the best in the world, or our students are the best in the world. Or as long as we love God, everything is good. We have a fun time. But we don't necessarily say what a kind of character need to be developed, what a kind of thing to be improved. And that's, let me share something with you. That's where common Asian cultures. You look at the cultures of old, in most excellent cultures of education, teachings. That it was elders supposed to do young people, parents supposed to do young people, schools, the teacher really care about young people, supposed to do, which is lost in modern education. Teachers don't care about whatever person are. As long as you study good, have good scores, as long as you excellent in certain things, school says good, you the captain of the basketball team. That's wonderful. We need you. So, but what kind of good people come out of it, we don't necessarily think about it. Until they become, they're national leaders, we say, they grew up, they graduated from our schools. But they don't pay attention to really true young people, really truly like them, right? So now, basically, education has lost its standard, lost its true value. Now, fortunately, today, with our education, I hope those things can be restored and be cherished in your midst. Has to be cherished, cannot be despised, cannot be defined about. It has to be welcomed as a blessing. Speaking in a serious tone, has to be welcomed as a blessing. We're fighting a win battle. We're going to lose to the culture of the day. So let's move on. So in 5.4, again, another disciple. Somebody said, 货源 5.4. I'm going to finish 5.5 and stop there. 货源用焉忍而不逆，忍而不佞。子曰：焉用佞？欲人以口己，律赠于人啊！不及其人，焉容逆？ So what it's saying is that somebody commented, Yan Rong is a disciple's name, is a wonderful or good person, virtuous person. But he is not good with his words. And Confucius said, why he needed his eloquence? Why he needed to be good with words? You use eloquence only when you try to deal with people, to address the people with a problem, right? But it's only caused resentment. I don't know whether Yerun is a good, excellent person or not. He's talking about his own disciples. But evidently he didn't say he's not. He said, but to use eloquence as a standard, that is not right. So Somebody commented when the disciple to Confucius said, "Hey, this is a person is a very good person, but he don't know how to carry himself in terms of speech, or he don't have eloquence." Confucius said, "Hey, why are you talking about eloquence? If you're going to combat or reason or argue with people, then you need eloquence, and it always cause resentment and friction. I don't know about whether he is a good person or not, but we should use eloquence as a standard to judge him." So what is speaking here? Comments from Noah. So.
I think what a lot of these last few teachings have been about has been how to truly recognize the worth, the value, even the virtue of one's heart.
That's wonderful.
And so in the first one, obviously, we have two cases where these men are in different circumstances, but the master is able to see through the result of his own actions, or the students are able to see the way the master thinks through the result of his own actions, how he determines the value and the virtue of a heart. And so the second one is very similar, going into how this virtue is, where the source of this virtue is. The third one, which was the one right before, it seems to be how this virtue is made known,
wholly expressed
through the relationship of the teacher and the student. And then in this one, has some similar, or has some parallels with, I think, the first one, in seeing that virtue is not seen through the eloquence of the individual. Of course, that's just one example. There could be other more shallow but still relevant examples, such as, say, the appearance or the personality of the individual. That does not determine the true content, value, worthiness even of one's heart. So he's having to correct his disciples' view of saying they're somewhat partial. They recognize the virtue, but they're also stuck on his ability to speak well. It's just a practical way of putting it, but the master is saying that still should not determine your view of him. You need to look deeper, just even as I do.
Look at it. You're gonna facing a bunch of young people or whatever people in circumstances of life, and there are people always quick with words, right? That knows every right answer. But I hope you guys don't draw to that, said because he knows how to give the right answer, he just speak word right, I just trust him exclusively and partner with him in life, or believe whatever he said because he agree with me. He tickle my ear. He speak to my heart, to speak my understandings. Rather, you will step back a little bit. Let observe how he treat his friends. Let me observe how he handle, how he make decisions. Let me observe what kind of partnership or companionship he has in life. How he really make decisions. So, in these days, we have a TV, medium, whatever, everybody's talk-headed. Until you talk, you know how to give quick answers, ask quick questions, draw some shining point, flashing point, and you really not even have presence to talk about anything. And you see the people who is slow, the word measure in the words is already being scorned as if he don't have knowledge, he just don't know the answer, he don't have a grasp on the topic, or inexperience in whatever, That's a quick judgment. Even presidential election has to do with who is more loud, who is more reasonable, he knows what he's talking. Is that true? Well, that's a great fallacy, actually, modern American leadership has fallen into. we don't really think about the person's character, right? We're just saying who can make more good points, So I'm not judging this nation per se. I'm just saying that, well, how about you? What kind of friend you gonna make? What kind of process making decisions or partner with others you're gonna make? That is very important. Interesting enough, in our midst, you and I may be more talkative, at least. But we have some beautiful people like John and Ben's very slow, or they're not all smart. They cannot carry a speech discourse, but they said no, we don't need it. So why they can do that? Just thinking about it, right? So your mom, your sure is a very eloquent, excitable people. Why they can say, okay, let's sit back, listen, and give us the room to talk? Why they can do that? Because there's different posture of understanding what is really being valued, really being, their life also expressed and appreciated. So I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to do, So action and relationally honoring speak louder than anything else. I hope we do that as a first investment of the importance of life. So this is interesting, this person in 5-4, Yan Yong, is actually one of the 4 most excellent disciples in Confucius circle. So Confucius is evidently saying, evidently knows that he's actually a very good student, right? So, but he is not happy with somebody bring a wrong standard to judge his students or judge anyone in this regard. Making sense to you? So yeah. So again, as reflecting back, to observe is that you can see confidence in commenting people, interact with people. He's not shy to tell what he thinks. The second time, when he talk about them, it's really a reflection of his own standard, what a righteous man, what a wise man should be, right? So he has a standard, and using that standard to measure, he's not shy to expound that standard. 5. Let's look at this. I'm gonna have you read first your translation. Then
Number 5.
Mm-hmm.
The master was wishing. This is a hard name. This person is what I'll say.
气丢. It's okay.
To enter on official employment. He replied, I am not yet able to rest in the assurance of this. The master was pleased.
So what it's saying is, 知识起雕开示，对曰：吾视之未能信。子曰： Now in those days, a person, when it's assumed official responsibility, has to attain a certain age and go through certain evaluations. So in here, interesting, Confucius actually have a say about who can go to assume official responsibilities. Interesting, huh? Yeah, maybe this occasion is he already have like a primer foundation. He may use his own students for certain capacities. So evidently this young man was still young, was still prepared for his future. And Confucius said, hey, it's time for you maybe assume some official responsibility. Can you start working with me, or under me? I don't know if it's under him or other occasions. Either way, the young man is very self-aware. He said, hey, I can't believe I can actually do that. You think I can actually do that? And Confucius was very happy with the response. Now, there's many things can be seen. You can see this. Please see the story, okay? See the picture. Let me move it before you. You guys are imaginary people. Can you see this? Think about Confucius. This guy have standing, and he want a young man to set into responsibility, assuming responsibility. A young man come to him, talk to him, said, hey, would you like to work on certain things? The young man said, I can't believe you asked me to do that. am I ready? Really? And so, and Confucius was very happy, So, oh wow. So, yeah. And so this young man later on actually is one of the great teachers branched out from the school of thoughts. Okay, so so in many ways, in those days, the first learn the thing need to be learned, then go to official capacities. Okay, there mark difference in terms what they need to do with their life. So that's like modern day, you go to university, maybe then go to work, finish on the course. But those days, it's a self-assigned, am I right? Self-assigned. Nobody tell you when, essentially. But Confucius and interact with the students in this kind of occasion and with such contest, it's a peculiar situation, but it's still worth speaking. Comment on this, Elijah. Do you have any comments? Do you envision the young man and this elder teacher, what they went through? Yeah. What do you think about it?
I guess if you're just talking about the thing about Confucius having with this and this young man, I guess I understand how he would be happy or excited at what he said because of what the young man said. Because it kind of has, it seems like if you gave a different response and like he gave a response that seemed like he was honored in the way that he was being put and surprised that he was able to do it. Sorry.
Yes.
Being really choppy on what I'm saying.
It's okay. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Confucius is happy about because the young man feel unprepared for, honored by the call.
That and I feel like there's more.
Yeah.
But
can you think about anything else? No pressure, just off the top, maybe. So. Yeah.
I know there's more. I can't. I feel like I can't say it off the top of my head.
That's okay. Yeah, things that nature worth to think about it, right? So why the teacher is happy here?
I think it does, like you were saying, require a bit of an imagination of the circumstance because firstly, we can see from the master's point of view that he may have expected the typical response or of a young man and being assigned responsibilities. Sometimes there can be a sense of conceit or even somewhat of an insolence in being given responsibility and then that responsibility being handled irresponsibly because of course depending on what it is, if it's being brought say to an advancement in a position because we don't know exactly what this official employment was, then there can be a naive or foolish pride in being assigned this responsibility. But we see that did not take place by the reply given by the student. So then we can think in another negative possibility, which is the student backing off from responsibility and being almost in a state of laziness or fear of having to be responsible for something. But we can see that from the wise master's reaction to his response, that also was not the case. What was the case that we can conclude in reading this entire teaching was that there was a humility in having been given this responsibility, or at least in approaching this responsibility and seeing that the student was aware both of his own capability and of his relationship with the master when approaching this assignment of official employment.
Yeah.
And so he was very, the student was approaching it in a very wise and understanding manner. So that's why the master was impressed or was pleased with the student's handling of the situation.
Yeah. It was said he has 1,000 students. Close one is 70 something. So he has a lot of students. So I don't know exactly this occasion what happened. But suppose, a master is highly honored, respected.
So what I think is important actually from this one is to see that it's not setting a standard for how to respond to a master when he gives you something to do.
Yeah.
It's not about what the student said, it's about how and why he said it.
Exactly, the attitudes, I guess.
Yeah. The state of his heart or the virtue of his heart.
Yeah.
As we've seen through the previous ones.
That's so important. Now, in all this, what we are in 5.5, but in overall observation, Elijah, what do you think? What would inspire you in a sense? What impressed you most in all this comments about people, evaluation of people? Let me just ask 2 questions. Maybe you can answer me. Do you think the teacher should do those things to comment to students like that to begin with?
Like
he
they were talking
did.
about
Yeah,
5.5?
exactly. Yeah. No, all of them. Do you think he should talk about people like that to begin with? I mean, compared to our modern culture.
Yeah, that's what I was actually about to say. Not like that exactly.
It's okay.
Definitely. I just think it's interesting how, I guess people back then, I don't know, but I guess they would think that now, like in the future, that education would progress. And just, it kind of seems like we, in the future, or in this time, usually, I'm trying to think of the right words to say. It seems like, because it seems like a lot of things that people were learning in the old times were like brand new. Like a lot of it was just new, and everything was being like found out. And it kind of seems like, I don't know, we now all pretty much learn, just a lot of it comes from behind us instead of where we are and in front of us, like things were learned back then. But it seems like just the education is so much different, and it seems like it was almost better portrayed and done back then than nowadays. I don't know. It just kind of seems like people took it a lot more seriously.
Yes.
Back then.
Yes, it do.
Yeah.
Most certainly they do. So Confucius garners or assumed a very honorable respect position in his students. Better than I have or you guys, I will tell you that. So the people don't prosper him. Maybe he has better virtue than I am, but it's just a different culture there. Like Jesus' time, the disciple come to him. They come with a cultural connotation. They know it's not the teacher's subject, the teacher's life. So when you have a teacher of your life, you don't treat the teacher of your life, especially your honorable young man, in a cultural connotation, in very enjoyed. So you don't just casual with that teacher. So unfortunately, we have lost the art of that, whether in church practices, church fellowships, or in educational in general, right? That's my point, So, however, that is something also being abused by people. Not every teacher give that honor, worth that honor, and has done a good job with that honor. so, or worth the entrustment, so, but sometimes, we can still see that happen time to time. We see a person really is not merely excel in certain talents or use that talent properly, whatever, or skill, whatever knowledge. He's a very person. He's a person valuable with some from the Washington, so the young people around him really respect him. And Washington was not a person with word, but a lot with actions, with a character. It was said by, I just read John Marshall's, he was said the way how he dispensed himself, he carries himself is so well honorable. Now that is a lost art in these days, right? So president has to do with the talk show to face the nation, to make a policy. No, those days talk show. What are you talking about? That's the last thing we want to be there, So why? Because it's talk show is making fun of people for the most part. So if the honor is a very, very short lead and not really, maybe it's real. I mean, whether it's real or not doesn't matter. And those personalities, opinions, idea doesn't hold any weight to a true person. Why should I listen to them? You understand my point. But today we turn to those people for evaluation whether a person should be likable or not, should be honored or not. What's weird society we have run into? Should it be the people of substance, people of wisdom, people of real experience, and genuine godly or not naturally godly, just good interest, right? So in society, in this nation, those are people I want to hear what they have to say. So in a sense, the forum of commenting people, evaluating people is very important. It's a reflection of a culture as well, in general. I would listen to your dad, what had to say about others, more than most people. Why is that important? Because I know who your dad is. Not because he's smart, he's always right. Because I know he's not selfish. When he talk about those things, he's love for God, he's love for others, he's truthful and balanced. Try to do justice for others is there, right? He's not biased. He's not trying to exalt himself. Try to be right. So he's really thinking about deeply weird things, matters. Okay, so it's not quick to judge either. Really think through what it is, ramification, what this is really about, personality or events. And that's required training, so we were not there, all of us not there in early days, but this day we can see what we matured a lot, at least, so we're not casual with our comments or discernment anymore, so the second part is compared to that. If the teacher is able to do that, that is uncommon, unusual for today's environment. Making sense to you? A teacher is allowed to do that. Actually, his word is hung wrong like this, being recorded. And people said, well, I want to hear that actually. I want to study that. I want to learn from that. Rather than to say, that is wrong to do. That's something a teacher or a wise man never supposed to do. But they said, I want to know what he think about it, about us. And on the student side, whether good or bad, I don't know. Most here or read is the good ones. Do we see him? The student said, okay, our teacher's opinion doesn't matter. Because all this is a private conversation. Do you think it's going to repeat itself? So who's going to carry the conversation really to others? Somebody else heard it, remembered it. They said, okay, Funku said about this person. Making sense here? Do you think then is gossiping? Or rather they honor the teacher so much as he want to know his thoughts about others, because he know his heart is not for harm, for prejudice. They want to say, let's learn from him, Let's see how he dispenses his relationship, how he dispenses his evaluation about things. It's a very different culture set up. So now let's fast forward to Jesus' time. Do you think Jesus ever shine about when he commenting people or dealing with their problems? Or rather, we're shy. When they're acting out or acting in an unbecoming manner, do you think Jesus have them run their show or leave them alone, or he confront them? Not confront them, he's rather engage them very frankly, right? So, but he's not engaging in a mean or debasing manner. He engaging so that they can be elevated and set free from a different place, right? So, now that's different than modern day people involve those kind of engagements. So we learn from two masters of a human relationship, in a sense, to engage in certain things. But there is overall there is a recovery, if I can propose to you, a culture. All of them are treated as teachers of what? Not the subject, not the season, but the teachers of what? Of life. Making sense to you? Now, that is some rule that most of the time, even in Christian circles, don't assume anymore. We may be a gifted person, God sent a person to do something, but we don't think about we are the impartation of a way of life. And with that, we're going to turn to you for some comments. So.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that could be said further, but I don't have anything that would, I guess, further enlighten the conversation than what has already been mentioned.
We exhausted our conversation a little bit. Okay.
Oh no, I mean there's a lot more that could be discussed or branched off into
few
things.
Points, yeah.
But I mean,
surely, but succinctly brought out what is stand out for you.
Well, yeah, even as the very last, some of the later things you were mentioning there, this to be able to first realize a different way of life, more specifically the way that others are viewed or evaluated, as we've used the word, even in the way that Confucius.
Let me ask two of you: would you like to be a teacher of life for others? That's a very hard call. Can you? Would you like to be one? But to be a disciple of Jesus, in order to be one to teach others, disciple others, that's something you need to really think about. That's really is all about. You understand my point, that you're not a Bible teacher, you're not a sermon maker. Really is the impartation of life. It's, so with all struggle up and down, but eventually what you are is one teaches life, teaches people to develop godly life. Yourself has to be aspired to be that one. And then recognize that is a highly skilled and satisfaction life. And, therefore, to conform yourself to the way, more than know about things, but rather said, let me learn of it and let me live it out. So, oftentimes expressing relational dynamics, So, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Stop.
Oh no. To observe someone like Confucius and even a similar way of thinking, especially in terms of teaching relationships that he had with Jesus, they first serve. Well, they serve as an example in two different ways. First, being that you see the way that they do things, and so therefore, after that's recognized, you understand why they do what they do and how they think what they think and why they say what they say. So we're beginning to realize this with Confucius and why he's pointing out both the good and bad qualities of his own students. And then that's the first way they serve as an example. But then the second way is for you to yourself begin to think in this way and therefore do what you do and the way you do it, and the same with how and why you speak what you speak. And this is all tailored in this context to relationships, which we've seen is very recurrent in his writings as a teacher to his students. But this greater awareness of this way, I'm being really general. I wish I could be more specific.
No, it's just that we spend a long time talking. Our mind maybe enmeshed about things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot here in each
But
thing.
in general, I think overall, this kind of conversation is helpful for us, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I never think about those ways either. I don't read this portion very well. Yeah, this is some new information to me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am glad we're going through it the way we are.
Yeah.
Not just skimming through them, but taking each one to heart.
Yes.
And really chewing on each one.
Apply on it our own life and be a platform for real life lessons and right. So
Yeah.